Hey YouTube, I'm doing an update on my tattoo and the healing process. I got it done 2 days ago. Um, Pretty much what I did for the first couple, like the first day, was I took the saran wrap off after an hour and just let it breathe out. When I got home, well, I patted it off a little bit with a paper towel to take off any of the excess goo, and it started to look like it was bleeding a little bit, so I patted some of that off. When I got home, I washed it with soap and water and applied A&D ointment to it. I realize now I probably applied too much, as I have been for up until today. Actually, I applied too much. Last night I put Curel on it, this lotion right here, and I applied this to it, and once it started to feel like it was drying out, I came home and applied A&D ointment on it again, and I left that on overnight. I think I'm going to keep doing that overnight, that way it stays it stays on, so I don't feel like I'm worried about it when I sleep. I don't feel worried that it's going to rub off in the middle of the night or dry out, which is a fear for me. Um, when I'm at work, I apply A&D ointment to it because it's very easy to keep on. Like I said, it doesn't rub off very easily, so that's very helpful because I work in fast food, so I do bump my arm quite often, whether I'm doing dishes in the sink and I accidentally bump it, or I bend over to get something and my arm bumps my pants, or I bump the computer. The A&D is quite thick. I put it on, like I said, I put it on a little too thickly, mostly for that reason that if it does hit the top, there's still that bottom layer, so it hasn't actually touched my tattoo. I do feel a little bit safer with that, though I know that's terrible logic. Um, I came home and washed it off just lightly, not with very much soap, and put a new layer. No, wait. Yeah, I put a little bit more on it because it started to feel like it was drying out, so I put more A&D ointment on it. And then I didn't put as much, I put a very little amount. And after that started to feel like it was kind of drying out, I put more Curel on it, and I put that on 2 or 3 times. Like every time it started to really absorb it, I put more on. And I did that up until about 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago maybe. I started looking at the proper care because, I've been bouncing around between A&D and lotion. And on my last tattoo, I used Utterly Smooth, which is a type of lotion without a petroleum base. Because that's something that I read, that petroleum will suck the ink out of your tattoo, and I don't want that at all. Even though I do plan to go and get it touched up, to have more shading added to it and to have the roses made a bit more realistic, I still wanted to keep the ink in as much as possible. I want to have as little done to it needed as, needed. So I washed off the lotion. I used soap and water, and what I do to wash it off is I take the soap in my hand and I apply it and I rub it on very lightly over my whole tattoo, and I put the water in my hand and just rub my hand over it. So I'm not leaving the water on, I'm not soaking it in water, I'm not dipping it in cotton balls and doing like that like I did the first night. I put the water on, put it on my wrist, and then wipe down, so I'm wiping the soap off, and I'm still rinsing it off very carefully. And patted it up dry with a white washcloth, which I don't know why I told you the color, that probably doesn't matter. But I tried to let it air out a little bit so that all the moisture is sucked out, which I didn't do last night or the night before. So I'm hoping with doing that I'll get a better response out of it by letting it completely dry out. Since how the washcloth does not pull all the moisture out, and rubbing it would hurt. So I'm going to wait till it's completely dry, and then I'm going to go back to my old technique of Utterly Smooth. Since how it does not have any petroleum in it, it has, I'm going to read this to you because, I can, haha. But it has deionized water, stearic acid, PEG 2 stearate, glycerin, isopropyl, propyl, however you say that word. Mistrate, dimethicone, lanolin oil, mineral oil, triethylmethylamine, allotonin, methylparaben, propylpropylene, and fragrance. Haha! Okay, there you go. So you can see what is actually in it that I can't pronounce. My hand is shaky. If you can't read it, pause your computer. But yeah, no petroleum is in it at all. And this is actually the best lotion that I've used for my skin, period. It doesn't feel greasy or oily because the oils are very far down, so there's not as much of it, I guess. And the fragrance is extremely light. I don't feel a burn with it at all. However, with this, I do feel a burn, and it's a little bit of a sting, but I just kind of suck it up and deal with it. Yesterday, it hurt, mostly on my elbow, like whenever you hit your funny bone, like right here, and just like a couple of minutes later, how it hurts to bend your elbow. That's how it felt all day yesterday. Today, it was a bit more sore and tender all over. That could be because I wasn't taking proper care of it and cleaning it properly, or just because, you know, it's the day after and it's starting to hurt. But it felt like somebody had like pinched me all over, or like hit me in the arm, and it's that after bruise effect where it hurts, kind of like a post cramp. How yours, like, it's cramped up, but it's relaxing, so it still kind of has that dull ache to it. That's pretty much what it feels like over the majority of it. The only spots that really ever get any significant pain, I guess, would be occasionally it'll sting over here, but I don't really get to put a lot of, the lotion doesn't stay there very well. How does it feel like texture-wise? A couple spots feel a little bit raised, which is why I was kind of worried if it's healing properly or not. So that's why I looked up all of the proper care for it. And I'm hoping that it's not going to have severe scarring, or any scarring, really. I'm hoping it won't stay raised. It's not very raised at all, just very, very light raising. He didn't feel very heavy-handed, so I don't think that's the reason. I think it's just because it's still healing, and it's still kind of, you know, poofy. Hopefully that'll go away. It's not very red at all. I mean, some spots are a little bit red, which is kind of hard to tell in here. But over between the L and the rose, and above the I and the L, it's a little bit pinkish looking. I'm assuming that's because it's still sore and red and swollen. And yeah. So hopefully letting it air out and apply the lotion will help to that. How do I sleep on it, if you're wondering? The night before, I was very careful to keep my arm up above my head, or, you know, laying it straight out so I wouldn't have to hit it or have the AMD rub off. The first night I did that. Second night, I didn't care. I was like, I'm sleeping comfortably, I'm just not going to roll over and lay on my arm like I normally do. So I rolled over and, you know, I had both my arms up like this, so it rubbed off on my pillow a little bit, it rubbed on my sheets and my blanket, but you know what? It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I don't really care too much. It didn't rub off the A&D very much at all. I mean, it's on my sheets, so I need to clean my sheets and wash my pillowcases, but, you know, that's just because the A&D kind of like stained it when it dried out, but, so that's how I've been taking care of it, and as you can see, it's kind of update for it, how it looks. My computer keeps freezing. It doesn't look bad, it looks pretty good. As for what people have said at work, I worked at the drive-thru today, and people kept stopping to ask questions. Oh, that's so pretty, you know, just give compliments, ask where I got it done, how much was it, when did I get it done, and people did that yesterday when I was at the front counter. The hardest part about working with it in Taco Bell is not dipping my hand in the sink to wash dishes, or dipping my hands in the bucket to get the sanitizer out, the rags out, to wipe stuff off. So I just like have the water extra shallow and so I can just reach in with my fingertips and pull out the rag. or use my left hand predominantly, which is very difficult since I am right-handed. I got lots of compliments on it, lots of, you know, when did you get it, how bad did it hurt, blah blah blah, all that stuff that I answered in my previous video, but you know, these people don't know me, so they haven't watched my video. That's pretty much it. This is starting to feel like it's almost completely aired out. Like, it actually feels like it is for the most part. It just feels kind of cool. So I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to apply the lotion and how I do it to be careful and not too heavy-handed, so I don't rub it a lot. And this is what the Utterly Smooth looks like, if you're wondering. It's all white, and it's actually all up on the side of this container right now, but it's like this. You know, I had this slight fragrance. Go out and get it yourself so you can smell it. But what I do is I apply just a little bit in a line. This is how I apply the A&D as well. I apply it in a line across, and I do that going up diagonally. That way I can make sure that I'm going to get from side to side and up here, and then I go in between the spots and add more lotion where it doesn't look like I got as much. And so that's how I initially apply it, and then I just, you know, small circles, rub it in and blend it out to the edges. Just kind of like you would, like if you were putting makeup on or anything, just like rubbing it down like this to blend it all in. And just, you know, making sure that I rub it in and make sure that I cover all of the edges. Rubbing it out past the edges of the tattoo to make sure that I got it all completely covered. Making sure that I got it all evenly covered, which is a bit more difficult than making sure I got the whole thing covered. And then, you know, it's like, you know, just like that pretty much. I mean, it has a little bit of a light coat to it now because the lotion has just got put on and it hasn't had time to absorb. But I'm going to blend that out a little bit, you know, rub it very gently, not in a circular motion, but just in a, what is that? Just in like light, strokey manners. More of my whole palm, just like rubbing it down into the sides so that it rubs in a little bit smoother. Covers the whole thing, but it doesn't wipe the lotion off. And that is how I have been taking care of it, so you can see how it looks. And I just rub the rest on my hands because they've been getting dried out really bad because of work and because I'm trying not to. And I have to wash my hands a lot more often because I have to reapply some of the A&D while I'm working because I get swiped off. But that's it. That's how it's going to look for a while until, you know, I have it dry or soak in. And then I'll apply more. Before bed, I'll put more A&D on it in the same way that I put it on like this, but I do little circles with the A&D after I do the lines to make sure I got the whole thing covered and have a very thin layer over it now. Now that I know better, I'm going to put a very thin layer over it and not as thickly as I have. I guess if you have any more questions, you can just post a comment or send me a message. I respond to both pretty often. Comments, what you think about it, you know, would you have done the same thing, all that fun stuff. If you have any better ideas for how to properly care for a tattoo, please let me know, because the little sheet they gave me didn't really have a whole lot of detail for how to properly clean it. It just said what not to do. Don't go swimming, don't take baths, no hot tubs, no this, no that. A whole bunch of stuff you shouldn't do, not a whole lot of what you should do. This video is going on 15 minutes, which is way too long, and because I don't know how to edit videos, it's all pretty much free streaming. So that's it for now. I will probably see you guys here in a couple days to show you, like, you know, 4-day or 1-week update for how it's healing and all that, or if something drastic happens, you know. And it has been itching. I forgot that. It has been itching a little bit today, so I'm hoping that's a good sign that it's healing up properly, and that it'll start to kind of get that sunburny feel to it later. I'm going to try to keep it from peeling. I don't think the peeling is a good thing, I don't know, I've read, you know, mixed comments about peeling and scabbing. So I don't think it's supposed to scab. I don't think think it's supposed to peel, but not scab. So I don't know. That's it. Bye, guys.